You know, Emporia meant so much. Emporia State meant so much, and it's been a part of me. It's embodied me to be able to move on, other than just the campus, but move on into the professional life. And some of the things that I've been able to accomplish, Emporia State gave me that foundation. One is earlier we talked about some pinnacle points. One is that really got me into my professional life was Emporia State Police. It was a campus security at that, and at that particular time, I needed a job, or I made the choice to work through college. Again, my siblings, they went to school, had loans. I vowed that I never wanted to pay my school in a loan after I was succeeding with that. So I decided that I was going to work my way through. So Emporia Campus Police had a position as a dispatcher, and that's where I started. And from that, early on, it was driven by money as being a student. If I did a dispatch as a work study, but if I was a student guard, I got a little more money, and I had a little more freedom, and I can get out and about on the campus. And then of doing that, of riding with a police officer on campus, and I saw that, and I thought, you know, I can do this job and still go to school. So I always worked nights, going to school and doing the daytime. But that was very significant for me, of just getting my foundation from there. And as we all know, there are some things that happen in your past that come to your present and to your future. It was at that point that I met my good friend, and one of my mentors in law enforcement is Richard Barter. He was a supervisor with Kansas Highway Patrol at that particular time, and I got to know him. Enough of a relationship that we fostered that my accomplishment from that and my education of just life was I left from the campus police to the police department, and then went on to the highway patrol. I met my wife at Emporia, the mother of my two great children, and now the grandmother of my grandson. But that was very significant. We talk about relationships. That was so important for me, because my wife has been one of those driving points. She was one that made sure that I went back to get my degree, and how important it was, because obviously she's a graduate of Emporia, has her undergraduate and also her master's, but she loves Emporia for the education purpose, because she's an educator. She's a school psychologist now. But education was very important. So getting my degree, very important. The people I've met along the way from Emporia to put me into the point I am now. I was talking to Dr. Carver. I was telling him about the classes that we took. He was in communication. I told him that it was very important. Something that I learned so much from his class was active listening. I'm in law enforcement. You know, we solve a lot of problems, but really we don't. All we do, I shouldn't say all we do, but one of the key of working with people is listening. That's why we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Listen, use them. So that becomes very significant in all that we do right there. And then we go on, I talk about my fraternity, of just the understanding how you persevere through rough times and tough times. And I think back on some of the poems that we learned, and some of the moral character that you built from going through, and the brotherhood, and that's very significant. I've had some accolades and some other things that have come along, and obviously this distinguished recognition there. I'm very humbled, because I've known so many people that have gone through to get this distinguished recognition there, even those that are in this class. How is it that I'm with them? But just the fact that you get that recognition is quite an achievement. It really is. Let's looking at Hornet Nation. What I'd like to get across is that education is priceless. Don't take it for granted. You know, whether we're talking about a freshman, to a graduate student, to a professor, to an alum, or maybe it's just someone that lives in the area of Emporia there, education is important. I'm Sheriff Herman Jones, Shawnee County Sheriff. and I'm a